As the mandala wheel is turning, we are coming now to gate number 64 within Virgo season. Gate 64 is the gate of diverse possibilities, and it is the second within the ring of alchemy that we started to talk about in last week's teaching. The ring of alchemy within Virgo season is a combination of gate 40, gate 64, gate 47, and gate 6. And when you think of the word alchemy, it's really here to teach us how Virgo as a season, as an archetype, is in the realm of the healer. You and I are both healers, which means that you're using the element of earth to really ground yourself to this earthly journey, to learn how to do the alchemy within yourself in order to transcend from a lower vibrating state into a higher vibrating state. The way that we do that is by really paying attention to the physical body and how the physical body communicates to us. So Virgo season is all about moving through health, moving into daily routines, being of service, moving it out into our workplace. So when we're in those lower vibrating energies, we're going to feel the effects of exhaustion, confusion, oppression, conflict within ourselves. And in learning to really travel through the inner alchemy and to get to know ourselves better, we have the opportunity then to move into the higher realms of resolve, imagination, transmutation, and diplomacy. So let us dive right in to talk about today's teaching on gate number 64 and learn all about the diverse possibilities. In the teachings of the I Ching, it says, in seeking to find the perfect answer to life, look into the stars and try to choose your favorite. There are always more stars to discover. So when we really tap into the gift in these teachings, which is about your imagination, and you use the analogy of literally looking up to the night sky, noticing how many stars there are, and bringing it into your awareness that if you were to choose just one star, well, how would you choose that if there's always more stars to discover? How would you know which one is your favorite if it would take many, 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 many lifetimes to be able to see them all, if you could even get to the very end of that journey? That is the gateway into our imagination and really bringing into our awareness just how vast it really is, how much potential and possibilities and innovation exists when we move out of our limited mindsets and we really open ourselves up to being receptive to God, Source, the Creator, whatever that energy is for you, conscious Google, sometimes it's referred to just become so aware of the vastness of possibilities that do exist. So as part of the Ring of Alchemy, and just to refresh some of the teachings from last week, this applies to the gene keys 6, 40, 47, and 64, which are all part of Virgo season. So in the teachings of the gene keys by Richard Rudd, it states, this very powerful genetic grouping, known as the Ring of Alchemy, plays a pivotal role in the transformation of the human species. Each of these 4 gene keys will transmute your DNA so that it is no longer any interference in your physical body. This is a very powerful genetic grouping. The 6th gift is breaking down the barriers in human relationships. The 40th gift is forging this new openness into our communities. The 47th gift is allowing us to transform our old ways. And the 64th gift is opening us up to fresh possibilities for living in a new way. This is the job of this codon ring, to activate a process of karmic release that allows your highest subtle bodies to manifest directly through your physical body. By transforming our old ways and opening us up to a fresh set of possibilities, these deep alchemical processes will gradually bring peace to Earth. So let's dive right in. And looking at your human design chart, we're going to be up in the head center for these teachings. Now, 30% of you will be defined, meaning it's colored in on your chart. 70% will be undefined. It'll be white within your chart. So if you've come into these teachings because gate 64 falls during your birthday, this is your conscious personality, your sun sign, this is the theme of your life's work. Your life's work is really to think in abstract ways, to make sense of past experiences, to help resolve confusion, to move from that state of confusion into the depth of your imagination, and beyond that into true illumination. Now, for all of us, especially if you're following the turning of the mandala wheel, then during this time in the activation, you are experiencing gate number 64. So we all have opportunities to experience each one of the gates at certain points of the year, and that helps us to self-actualize how it applies to our own unique human design, what our conditioning might be in those areas, and how we can most importantly really cultivate and bring in the gift aspect. So if your head center is colored in your human design chart, you are a little bit rare. You put a lot of pressure on humanity to think, to really think outside the box, to innovate, to stimulate, seeing beyond those possibilities. So it's noticing that you do create pressure in those around you. So you may have a lot of common sense. Things at an intellectual level might be very easy for you. Or in the case of diverse possibilities, really looking at abstract concepts, shapes, colors, textures, images, metaphors. Those things might appear to be very, very easy for you. So it's acknowledging that 70% of the population is open to many ideas. They are easily influenced by many ideas. They are picking up on the collective thought patterns. And as a collective, our thought patterns right now are very confusing. They're very fear-based. We have a lot of self-protection. So we're learning to clear those away, to clear the mud, so to speak, from the mind's eye, to be able to go deeper into the third eye awareness, which is found in the Ajna center, and to notice that our mind is here to be an observer to the reality, not to create the reality by our own perceptions. We want to see beyond the sense of the small self. Now, there is a pressure in this gate to examine life. That is what it's all about. So if you have gate 64 and a colored in head center, you are putting pressure on people to really look at life, to question things for themselves, to really ask why, to ask, does that make sense? Have you looked at other possibilities? What if you were to look into this doorway? So it's very highly inquisitive in nature. And, as children, a lot of us seem to get in trouble for asking why. Or I know in my case, it was the common answer of because I said so. Well, when you have a curious nature, when you have this pressure to explore, not having an answer to your why is not good enough, or receiving an answer that doesn't feel right is always going to leave you in that state of confusion. Now, that is the gift to humanity because we are all here to learn to think for ourselves, to not be part of a program, to not be conditioned to be thinking in one way, but to know that we all bring different flavors and aspects to certain things that enhance the overall collective energy field. So to be inquisitive, to be curious, to ask questions, especially of yourself, your belief system, checking in with your body. How does that feel for you? And really allowing yourself to move beyond what the mind wants to think and move deeper into, well, what is beyond that concept? What is beyond those words? What is beyond that meaning? So it is designed to really take things apart. It likes to dissect things. And that might be a physical object, like literally taking apart something to see how it works. Maybe or maybe not putting it back together again, depending on that someone's interest. It may be dissecting art, literature, music, concepts, arguments, debates, philosophies, religions, cultures, societies. There's so many ways to really apply that energy. But unless we take the time to really look at the details, to move beyond what is being presented to you, you're not going to see a bigger picture. It's like sitting down at the table to have your supper. And if you just go ahead and start eating the salad and say the steak in front of you, yes, you're enjoying a meal, but you're missing out on a lot. You're missing out on, where did that salad come from? Where was it grown? Who did the harvesting? How did it start? How did it flourish? I wonder if they used any pesticides on there. I wonder if this is organic. I wonder if the seed is genetically modified. I wonder where this cow came from. Was it a free-range cow? Was it treated humanely? Where did it travel from? How did it get to the grocery store? How long has it been on the shelf? These are all things that occur within the mind of somebody who has the gate of diverse possibilities. It's acknowledging that there is so much more. The mind is always in this state of contemplation, being inquisitive, wondering, guessing. And when it is really having fun with that, it is a high vibrating energy, inspiring self and inspiring others. When we get so caught up in the mind of trying to figure everything out, and we start feeling this heaviness in the head, we start to feel lethargic and overly being stimulated with too much, then you are leaking and giving away your life force energy. So we want to find the balance in really being amazed by the world around us, knowing there's so many possibilities, and not putting so much pressure on ourselves to try to figure it all out. Because just like the last picture, when you're trying to pick a star only to realize that there's more and more and more to be discovered, it is the same with our concepts and ideas. So it's learning to make peace with, I may never know the answer. And being okay with that, really just immersing yourself in the journey of the discovery. That is what it is truly about. So there is a constant contemplation in here of what if? Well, what if there's more to see? What if we added this ingredient to it? What if we added this color to it? What else? What if we kind of changed the shape around and we moved pieces over this way and moved it over that way? So it's knowing that things don't have to be static. You're able to really get that sense of all that abstract texture and movement and color and light and sound and feeling and vibration and texture to see the unlimited possibilities that can be created. That is the role of the alchemist. That is chemistry in nature. That is really dissecting apart in the world of biology and moving into the realms of physics. There's just so much here that can be explored. Noticing for yourself if you really enjoy kind of questioning and looking into religions, histories, philosophies, belief systems, and really in a way to understand, to get a greater understanding for yourself, to maybe learn why somebody does something. What is the significance for that? What was that belief system? What were they going to ceremony for? What was that like? Really helping yourself understand and to move beyond whatever it is that you think you do know, but yet you know you only have a small vision of that. So it really does get us to question and to start examining life, to get out there and have deeper and deeper connections through the art of asking, well, what if? What if there is more? It's also part of what is known as the channel of abstract thinking. And this is where we see it now coming down into the Ajna Center. So the Ajna Center is where we really start to take information from the head. We learn to categorize it, organize it, do the research in there, and then come to that conclusion. So if you have this channel, you have a defined head and ajna. You have a very specific way of taking in your information, sorting through your information, coming to your conclusion. If you do not have a defined ajna center, you do not have a set way of thinking. You are not necessarily designed to retain information, but it is very likely that you know where to go to find your answers. You probably have your own system of organizing, or you're just aware of, well, I can ask Google. Everything is so accessible to us in this day and age, but the pressure we put on ourselves to know the answers and to have the answers are often very unrealistic. So really working on yourself to see, do I have anxiety within me about providing answers or trying to prove to others that I am certain? And noticing how much energy that takes away from you. Learning to relax into your own design. So the channel of abstract thinking, this head ajna connection, is drawing energy towards itself from gate 47, which is known as the gate of realization. Think of that as the light bulb moment, the aha, I've got it, right? So it's either the mind accessing information that it already has stored in, or it's the ability of moving past your mind, tapping into the greater mind through the third eye awareness to all of a sudden get the awareness of, oh, that's what that means. That's how I do it. This is what can be done. And those come during times of very relaxed moments. We have to relax our mind and our body in order to move out of our own head center and open up to God, Source, the Creator, whatever that energy is for you, in order to have it flow into our awareness. So that gate 47 realization, it's also carrying a natural fear, because we're here to learn to transcend our fears by having greater faith within yourself. So if you have gate 47 in your chart, this one is all about having an anxiety about the futility and the oppression in life, meaning that life is meaningless or life is too hard, and really noticing for yourself, do you have an anxiety around that? Do you have an anxiety of, well, this is all just for nothing. I'm never going to figure this out. I'm never going to get ahead. I'm always going to be this. And it's really important to be aware of that dialogue within yourself in order to move into the gift aspect of moving your imagination, breaking through those self-beliefs. There's also a fear in here that one cannot make sense of confusion from past experiences. So there's some ancestral healing in here. We are conditioned by those that raised us to believe what they believed. We've been conditioned to their fears, to their stories, to their perception of life. And it's only when you start really questioning for yourself and you start looking at the bigger picture to go, why did they believe in that? What was the economy like at that time? What was the government like at that time? What were the school systems focused on? Were they part of a religion? Were they part of a culture? Do they have a set belief system? Was that fear passed down generation after generation? Did something happen in the past that would have caused this certain pattern? And if there is the confusion there of not knowing, well, maybe that's because things have been pushed under the rug. Maybe the confusion within your body is your indicator of there's more here to the story than what is being revealed to me, what I am sensing, what I am feeling. And it's not something that the mind can figure out. We're going to see when we get to the teachings of the gene keys how you really have to do the deep dive within yourself, within your cellular structure, to move up and out of you, to ask the higher powers to move you through some of those past experiences, to enlighten you to the truth of what is going on, and to really examine the fear for what it is. This is also where we see a lot of imagery that comes in. So whether it's the shapes, colors, texture, symbols, it's really about receiving things that are metaphoric. A picture has many meanings. So if you are, say, a card reader and you're reading cards intuitively, you might look at the picture and all of a sudden you have information. You're noticing certain elements within that picture. You're noticing a certain colors jumping out at you. You're noticing certain symbols. So everything has a language. The higher realms speak to us through frequencies, through showing us images that are relevant to ourselves so that we can learn to communicate with them. So your imagery and meaning might be different than somebody else's imagery and meaning. And again, this is where we move past our confusion and we trust in what we are receiving, and we don't judge it. We don't judge it based on whether somebody else received the same. We don't ask somebody else to validate it. You really move into the connection of trusting the relationship with yourself and your own ability to connect. It's always about there's more to the story. So diving deeper into the concepts, diving deeper into the theories, always in this excitement. The more excited you are about something, the higher your vibration is going to rise, the more you are going to attune to receiving information. And most importantly, we have free will. Your guides will not interfere unless you ask them for help. So be curious. I wonder what this is. Guide me in deeper. Help me to see from different angles. Allow me to see through your eyes. Move me through the colors, through the textures, through the shapes. Keep your body relaxed. Keep your eyes open. Move your head, your ego to the side, meaning don't try to think from here. Become the observer. Just like you're traveling through the night sky, you want to be the observer to everything that you are experiencing. And you're probably going to notice that it's really, really easy to solve issues for other people. It's easy to see their patterns. It's easy to look at their past and go, oh, yeah, you are repeating that again. That's the same behavioral pattern. That's the same cycle. That's the same fear creeping up. But you're probably not so aware of your own. It's a lot harder to figure things out for ourselves unless we are really willing to sit and go within to do our own contemplation. So again, reminding yourself that those breakthrough moments, the self-actualization, understanding why you're doing certain things, why certain things are happening, occurring, they come through during the quiet moments, not by getting lost in trying to figure it all out, not succumbing to the pressure of needing an answer, but acknowledging for yourself, just like that night sky, there are many ways to look at that. And sometimes that's the greatest gift that you can give yourself is permission to not know, but an open heart and an open mind and a willingness to discover more to the story, to discover a new possibility, to be guided along the way. So we're going to move in deeper now. We're going to go through the gene keys. So the gene keys literally come and they open up the gateways within human design. They bring us into the inner alchemy. So we get to learn more about the shadow, the dilemma, which is your learning concept, the gift, which is the transformational ability to rise yourself higher. And then we look at the highest light aspect, the Sudi, which is available within this gateway.